So this is my little TIG welder. It's a Unimig Razorback. It's only a 200, so it's not the biggest welder, but it certainly does everything I've ever asked it to do. It'll weld 6mm plate aluminium, and that's all I ever need. I don't need anything more. It's a cheap welder, and some things have broken on it already, but we just keep on going with it. One of the things that broke was a foot control. I used to weld only ever with a foot controller, and you can adjust the amperage via your foot control. Now I'm just getting used to not using the foot controller, and I have it as a hand controller. This hand control is the amperage control. You have an on-off button here, and then the amperage control. So we'll turn the machine on. It's set at 5 amps. We adjust the amperage with your finger. And that is while you're welding. You can adjust your amperage while you're welding. So if you need it hotter or colder, and that is not giving you a direct number, oh, you need to weld with 100 amps. That's how I get my nice welds. That's not how it works. It's what you're watching through your helmet that determines how much amperage you need, and it's adjusting as you go. Sure, when you're doing a long weld, you get it set so that it welds nicely and you leave it set at that, but I have no idea what that number is when I'm welding. I get it right, I set it right, and I use it, and I'm just welding. So I can't tell you what amperage that is, but if you go slower or faster, that also then changes your amperage. So all of these things are a little bit determined on how you weld or who's welding. Okay, let's turn this off. Or actually, we'll go through some settings. When you first turn it on, you have a button to turn it on, and it has 4 stages. The first stage is just your pilot weld, let's call it, and that is a lower amped weld. Then when you take your finger off, it goes up to your welding amperage, and then once it's up to your welding amperage, you can still adjust that via your finger, and you do your welding. And then when you come to the end of your weld and it's time to, albeit the job gets too hot, it's time to close your weld down, you press the button and it drops down to a closing amp, and then you take your finger off and it stops. So it's like 4 stages throughout the button. On, off, and that's the completion of the weld. You can also set it up so that it's just on and it's just off, but then you don't get the ramp up and the ramp down, or progressive heating up and progressive cooling down of your weld while that happens. Back in the old days, we didn't have that. On that machine that I have over there, doesn't have that. It was just on or off. But now with these newer machines, we get a ramp up and a ramp down at each end of our weld, even on the cheap ones. This whole setup was $1,000, and that was probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that this was a new welder. Alright, so you can adjust the parameters on how much it ramps up and how much it ramps down. You can do all of that. Also, with this, we have the tungsten. Here's another important part. We have the tungsten, and we have the gas shroud over the top of it, and where we put our tungsten in or out determines the shape of the weld that you have. So if you have the tungsten out further, you get a lot smaller weld, and it's a more direct weld. You have your tungsten back in, it spreads the arc a bit more and gives you a flatter weld or a bigger weld. Alright, so there's just a couple of little tips on that one. Of course, turning it up and turning it down will do the same thing for you, but essentially that's what that's going to do. So just to give you a rundown, we have an earth as well, which you clamp onto the job. the AC welders work on a high frequency start, which means when you press the button, it has a high frequency like the spark plug in your car. If you touch it, you get that little buzz out of it. The high frequency start is just the initial jumper to start your to start the actual arc across. And then once that's going, then you can start feeding in your rod. So that's AC welding, and AC, you need an AC welder for aluminium. You can't use a DC welder for aluminium. DC welding is for steel or stainless steel. Some welders, the older welders, are called scratch starts, where you actually have to touch the job before it starts. Whereas with an AC version of this, you have that little initial start spark, which helps get the arc going. All right, enough on the welder now. That's what I give you today for that one. We'll go back over and we'll talk a little bit more about fit up. So after explaining how the welder works, I decided to do a few different TIG welds with a few different setups of fitment of materials, showing that some have gaps and some don't have gaps, and how we deal with it. So I've got some really good fit up on all of the job here, but some fit ups are different to others, and they leave with some leave gaps that need to be filled, and we're going to use the TIG welder to fill them today. The others that have no gaps, we're going to actually try to fuse weld them where they join together, and then we're going to add a bit of filler rod after they're fused together. Okay, so that's a fit up that has no gap, opposed to a fit up that has a gap. And I'll get you a little bit closer to the job so you can see what I'm actually talking about, and hopefully you can understand, and then we can work out the process of the TIG welding, what we need to do, how we're going to do it. So looking down here, we can see here that we have a gap there, and that is just because we've butted up a square edge against a square edge, and this has got a round radius corner on it here, and then the square edge here is not going to give us a nice flush fit. It is tight and it is beautiful, and it will TIG weld very nicely. Here's a fit up that requires just a bit of fuse welding. There's no gap there, and it is smooth, and it's just really good fit up. I've welded here with the MIG already when I've joined them together, and I've joined them together here, but this gets covered over with a sign, so you won't be able to see these welds, but you will see this weld here, and that's why I've decided to TIG weld this corner. And then on the other side here, we've got a 45-degree cut here, and I'm also going to TIG weld this corner. Okay, and here is a very minimal misfit, but that could be just from my saw blade, the way that I cut it with the saw, that it's given me a little bit of misalignment. It's not enough to worry about. When I run the TIG welder over the top of that, you'll never see it. Same with this one here. Now at the other end of the job, I've already TIG welded the join together, and here it is. Now I fuse welded this here, and then added filler rod to the fuse weld. So in other words, I joined the two bits of metal by introducing heat, and it's joined, and then after it's joined, then I put some filler rod in. So technically you fuse it first. Fuse means you don't use any filler rod. And this one here, well, I started straight away with it, and I used filler rod straight away. And this is a very low profile weld, not a big lump. It's nice and hot and flat. Okay, today I have got the tungsten is out a little. I'll put it on here. You can see the tungsten is out just a little bit. It's not much, but it's out a little bit. Okay, so that means when I weld something, I can get the tungsten very close to the job and weld over it. Now, also something else to consider when we are TIG welding something up. This frame was square before I started to TIG weld the corners. Okay, the frame was already welded inside and it's already welded outside. And then we've welded in some little gussets on the inside here as well. This will basically stop the frame from becoming out of square. But when we TIG weld, we should also weld one side here, and then as you finish, you weld the other side here, so that all of the forces that act on it, when you weld this, it wants to bring this side in. And when you weld this one, it wants to bring this side in. But it can't because we have a crossbar in the middle of it. So then it just becomes distorted and out of shape. But if we do the process of welding this one, and then we do the process of welding that one, both of those welds will want to fight against one another, and it will then stay straight, which is the whole aim of the game. Okay, so I'm going to set up, and I'm just going to weld this one here with the TIG, and I'll do it in real time, and I'll set the camera up and just set it down so you can see it. So we can see very clearly there the two welds that are going to be undertaken to match the other side that we've already welded. So I'm going to run from the inside to the outside, and I'm going to run from the outside to the inside. Always gloves. I've got my filler rod and the TIG is turned on. My gloves I could do with some new ones. This one's all right, but this one here, this will find you. You always touch something that's got the hole in it. Now there's a few holes in this one. I'll touch that by the end of the day on something that's hot, and it shouldn't burn me, but it will. Okay, so here we go with the TIG. I'm going to start to melt this in. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it clearly with the camera, but we'll give it a go. Sorry, what I will explain as I'm going is that when I turn it on as explained with the TIG welder. It's a 4-stage system. So this is there's a pilot arc. I'll remove the clamp and I'll show you a pilot arc. And you can just see the little pilot arc there. That's an AC welder that does that. So now I'll put the earth clamp back on. That pilot arc is what makes the major arc jump across and starts the welder every time. Here we go, 4-stage setup. First stage is on. Pilot arc jumped across, and now my main arc has settled. And now my finger comes off, and I adjust the amperage as I'm going. Finger on the amperage, it ramps down, and then it turns off. And there's our little TIG weld. It's a nice low profile TIG weld. Same again with this one. I'll use the 4-stage setup again, where I press the button on and then release it straight away. Button on, amperage is set, release it, the hot amperage comes. It started to fuse together, and I'm just adding filler rods in. And press the button and it ramps down, and let the button off and it stops. And there we have our nice little TIG welds. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the bigger gap. So here we can see we've got a bigger gap there. It's almost a 3mm gap. This is a 3.2mm filler rod, and that fits in there nicely. So we've got a 3mm gap. I'm going to weld that right now using the same system with the 4-stage. Here we go, turn it on. And the arc has settled. Now I might take my finger off and it ramps up to welding temperature. We start to melt it in. Ramp down and off. And there you can see we filled in the 3mm gap, and with a nice little TIG weld over that. I've got the one more weld to do here and we'll stop. Arc started, ramp up. I'm backing my amps off by hand. It's fused together. I'm adding the filler rod in. And ramp down and off. And there you can see our neat little finish.